How's it going, buddy? How you doing? You been watching any good TV shows lately? Have you been watching The Mandalorian? I'll say this. I asked if you're watching any good TV shows. I have to say, season 3 of The Mandalorian has been very disappointing for me. This show feels all over the place. It feels like they started filming it and then changed their mind. That entire weird, subvert your expectations. We're going to bring IG-88 back to life, but actually get a completely different droid. I don't know what's going on. And if you're not watching the show, you have no idea what I'm talking about. And that's fine. Honestly, this season is off to a very rough start. However, one thing we have to do as critics here on the internet is we have to be fair. We can't, a lot of guys will go out and report the new season of The Mandalorian is a complete disaster for Disney. Now, I report on things that I think are a disaster for Disney. I report on when I think they have, there are actual reports that they've lost money or the ratings are down or the audiences are upset. If that happens, I'll report on it. But if that doesn't happen, then I'm not going to just make up numbers for you guys to try and make yourselves feel better about hating on Star Wars or whatever else. And we're going to talk about that today, because some people are saying The Mandalorian Season 3 is a complete ratings disaster. We're going to dig it. Is that true? Let's find out. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Guys, because originally when I wanted to report on this, I saw these videos popping up that said The Mandalorian ratings are crashing. Ratings tank. I think this was the first thing I saw. Bad news for Star Wars fans. Star Wars ratings crash. Lower than Obi-Wan Kenobi. Okay. And these, of course, are from my very esteemed colleagues who would never, exaggerate things for clicks, who always tell the truth. And I said, okay, well, that's an interesting story. If the Mandalorian ratings really are tanking, I want to talk about that. I want to make a video about that. Let's see what Valiant Renegade has to say real quick.
The Mandalorian Season 3, arguably the last hope for Star Wars.
Okay.
A stumbling franchise that can't find its footing for the last several years.
I agree with that.
Well, it looks like the Walt Disney Company may have finally killed the golden goose that made Disney Plus.
Killed the they've killed the Mandalorian. It's dead, he says. I mean, I'm not going to go through the whole 9 minutes here. But again, has Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm, this is the description here, have killed the last hope for Star Wars. My God, I cannot. Well, that sounds really bad. Hold on here. Let me see. How is this the end of Lucasfilm? I need to know. Well, here seems to be an article that some of these guys are referencing from the Direct. Mandalorian Season 3 suffers weak premiere viewership. Again, trying to sell us on the idea that excitement for this show is dissipating and that the premiere has been disappointing. Now, all of this is based on the Samba TV record. Samba TV is I believe, cable provider, and what they do is they track their viewers and they see who's streaming what and in what way. Okay, 1.6 million U.S. households, sorry for stumbling, watched the Season 3 premiere of The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. Okay, well, 1.6 million sounds pretty good. Is that bad? Why is that bad? Now, unfortunately, I don't have a Rap, Pro, Samba, whatever the hell subscription. Come on, guys, get my numbers up so I can afford to subscribe to all these analysis sites. But the place that collects the numbers, this is, I guess, owned by Samba TV, because the link's coming straight from them. Check out our weekly wrap. If we check out the weekly wrap, they're not saying, oh, The Mandalorian is screwed and the views are in the toilet. They're actually saying it's currently the #1 streaming show. Now, granted, it's a new launch for that week. It's not too hard to top the streaming charts if you're the biggest show coming out that week, but it is at the top. So why are we being told that this is a ratings disaster for Disney? Well, the reason that these guys, again, are making videos saying this is a huge disappointment and, Disney's lost its way, my God, is based on a couple numbers here. First of all, we have to say that it outpaced the launch of Andor by 50%. I think that speaks more to the fact that people really were not excited for Andor. Andor was like a surprise hit, so we can kind of ignore that. But what they're saying is the reason it's disappointing is that it fell short of the launches of Loki and Obi-Wan's audience by double digits, trailing those launches by 35% and 28% respectively. Well, that's something we kind of have to put in perspective. Both Loki and Obi-Wan Kenobi were brand new shows. In brand new shows, people get very excited. They want to, check it out. They want to be part of the conversation around those shows. So typically the launch of a new show, that'll usually be the ratings peak for a show. Usually as shows go along, each season you lose, a certain amount of viewers. People are just tired of watching it, or they want to move on to the next big thing. So it's kind of disingenuous to compare The Mandalorian, which this is its third season, to the first season of very exciting franchise shows on Disney Plus like Loki and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And let's be real, the average person out there who is not a diehard Star Wars fan probably goes, oh, The Mandalorian, I don't know, I've heard people talking about that. I've heard people talking about Baby Yoda. Maybe I'll check it out sometime, whatever else. Then they hear, however, oh, there's an Obi-Wan Kenobi show with Ewan McGregor from the original movies. I have to say, that's far more exciting for the average normie than a show like Mandalorian. So it makes perfect sense that, yes, the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, again, promised it's going to be Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader. It's going to be, the classic Star Wars good versus evil. Like, it was hyped to high heaven. Mandalorian was kind of a sleeper success, and it still almost could be considered a sleeper success. I know some people are really into it. Some people don't, are kind of turned off again by the whole Baby Yoda thing. But again, saying that Mandalorian Season 3 is failing because it's not doing as good as Obi-Wan Kenobi, Obi-Wan Kenobi's launch was, I think that's a disingenuous argument. I think more people are excited for a character like Obi-Wan Kenobi than The Mandalorian, which is still, a new character that people do not have familiarity with. Even people who have, even though he's been around now a couple of years, I think there's still people out there who go, you know what, if it's not from the movies, if it's not from the core Star Wars universe, I don't have time for it. And I totally get that. The funnier thing, though, is that some of these guys are going, it did worse than Boba Fett. Oh my God, the ratings are worse than Boba Fett. And we know how bad the Boba Fett show was. Guys, it's doing 2% less than the Book of Boba Fett. And again, I'm going to make the argument that the average normie viewer knows more about Boba Fett and cares more about Boba Fett than The Mandalorian. It's honestly incredible that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have gotten people excited about a brand new character in the Star Wars universe who is not, connected directly, did not appear in the past movies or TV shows or cartoons or anything else. So I think these guys right now who are telling you that, again, this is the end of the world for Disney, that there is no hope, the ratings have tanked, we have a crying Baby Yoda. Look, there's a certain amount of showmanship that has to happen on YouTube. I get it. But there's a certain point also where I think you're not being very honest with your audience when you say it's a crash for doing 2% less than Boba Fett. 2%! It's the top streaming show right now. I wish there was a ratings crash because I would report on it. I'm not here rooting for The Mandalorian. I think this season sucks. But I'm not going to lie to you guys and say a 2% drop from Book of Boba Fett for a completely different show, again, that's about a character that isn't from the original or the prequel trilogy. I think The Mandalorian's doing pretty good. Now, could the ratings fall off a cliff because the show is kind of starting to suck? Yes, I think that might happen. This season is off to a very rough start, and maybe I'll talk about that later. But these guys are telling you it's the end of Disney. The ratings tank. The ratings are in the toilet. Guys, even the place that reports this says The Mandalorian gives Disney Plus a win. That's how they phrased it. You're making up the idea that this is a disappointment. Would Disney like better numbers? Yes, but my God, it's not like the show. They're still making plenty of money, and that's all they care about. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments. What do you think? Do you think Mandalorian Season 3 putting up less numbers than the huge marquee launch of Obi-Wan Kenobi? Do you really think that's a significant piece of data? Or do you think these people are maybe maybe getting a little exaggeraty with their numbers. I don't know what to tell you. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel down there. And don't forget, sign up for the mailing list for Super Killer coming soon. Get on the mailing list. You're going to have a great time. I love you. And thanks for watching my channel. I try to tell the truth. I know it doesn't get me views, but that's all I can do.